Hey there, I'm Syama, CEO of Scaling Retail, and today I want to chat with you about a business model called drop shipping. Now, many of you guys have been looking to launch businesses and trying to find ways of hacking the inventory challenge. And drop shipping can seem to be a really amazing way to be able to bridge the gap between curating products, selling and marketing them to an audience, and then really totally not having to deal with anything along the lines of holding inventory. Now, many of you guys know inventory management and procurement of inventory is one of the hardest things to do in our industry. In fact, the reason why is because it just costs so damn much in order to be able to buy and hold inventory. Not just the cost in terms of what you're buying from brands, but also in terms of keeping products at a third-party logistics center, handling the logistics in terms of outbound shipping, dealing with reverse logistics. There are so many reasons why having your own product in-house as a retailer can pose lots of challenges. So drop shipping might seem like an ideal solution. Now, what is drop shipping? Well, guys, drop shipping is really the idea of being able to source from brands all over the world or domestically or wherever, and being able to enter into a contractual relationship with them whereby you are selling their products on your website without having to hold any inventory. When the consumer makes a sale, you pass through the sale to that vendor, and that vendor then ships the product directly to the consumer. Now, if the vendor ships the products to the consumer and there's some sort of issue with quality control or damages, etc., that's where you start to get into a bit of some sticky issues here. If the product gets to the consumer and all of a sudden they want to return it or exchange it, again, additional sticking points. So as we're starting to think about the ways in which drop shipping can be very beneficial, it's also very important that we take a step back and understand what are the actual costs of doing drop shipping and how can that actually be influencing your brand in a negative way. Now, let's talk about some of the areas you'll need to concern yourself with when launching a drop shipping business. Obviously, there is the notion of brand identity and brand protection. If a vendor is shipping products out directly to the consumer, how do you ensure that they're actually presenting the product as a branded product from your business name? Very hard to standardize that kind of customer experience. The next thing you have to take concern over is the lead time to shipping. Certainly you as the retailer would make every effort to ship out that product within the next 24 hours, but your vendor may or may not have that product on hand. They might need 7 days to ship it out. They might need 36 hours to ship it out. You will have little control over exactly their lead times are to shipping out to the consumer. Any of those sorts of hiccups could lead to customer service issues. Consumers writing you, wondering when their products are shipping. Perhaps it's not going to get to them in time for that event that they wanted to wear it to. All of these little tiny details actually make a really big impact when it comes to how consumers are experiencing you, the retailer. Now, when it comes to finding ways to move through that, right, or how to actually alleviate some of these concerns around the drop shipping model, we have to ask ourselves, how can we get creative? What is the point of drop shipping? And how can I leverage drop shipping to actually tell a bigger narrative or a bigger story? Now, in my mind, when we're working off of drop shipping ideas and methodologies, I actually believe that drop shipping is a great way to, number one, prove the market. Number two, be able to show traction and visibility. Number three, understand product assortment, mix, and brand. And then number four, be able to start to build community conversation and really be able to start to curate and have a point of view that consumers are going to ascribe to, that they're going to love, and they're going to start to follow for you forever, hopefully increasing your customer lifetime value. That dropshipping methodology should really only be used for the first 12 months, I believe, maybe 24 months. But from a P&L perspective and profitability, dropshipping actually eats into your margins in ways that we can't, ways that are very fluid, if you will. Meaning, 1 month you might have to deal with a high rate of returns. Other months you might find yourself staffing up on customer service representatives in order to help service customers. And you might need to actually staff yourself with dedicated people internally to manage all those vendor relationships. So don't just think about it from the perspective of every time I get an order, I'll be able to send it out and I don't have to deal with anything. In fact, you actually are held responsible for the entire channel of how things are being sold and returned without necessarily being able to have your hand in quality control, in your hand in how you're shipping out the goods, And then also being able to manage at the end of the day all of the reverse logistics and receiving the product, and then maybe you have to actually ship it back to the vendor. So guys, as you can see here, there are a lot of different components here when it comes to building a drop shipping business. It can be amazing for alleviating inventory management issues, but it can be a huge pain in the ass when it comes to staffing out and building a core internal team who's going to have their eye on every single area of the customer and vendor relationship attributes of the business. So how do we manage this? What do we do? Number one, use drop shipping as a point of reference in terms of a longer term strategy. Drop shipment should not be the end goal, right? It should be one step along the way. The second thing you can do is actually look to see the ways in which you can implement something like cross shipping. Cross shipping is where you receive the products in your distribution center from your vendor. You quality control and check the products, you ship it out, you actually receive the products when there are any sort of returns or damages or exchanges, and then you kind of mitigate and deal with those issues directly with the vendor. That might sound like an ideal solution, but let me tell you, when it even comes to cross shipping, you're going to see a tremendous amount of fallout when it comes to your shipping fees. Who's paying for the shipping from the vendors? Who's paying to return the products to the vendors? Who's paying for shipping to the consumer? Who's paying for the return back from the consumer? So those shipping fees, while they might seem negligible in the beginning, as you scale, will actually start to take a huge chunk out of that P&L. All right, guys, that's all for me over here at Scaling Retail. Drop shipping, pros and cons. I think it's an amazing model to use in the beginning stages of a business. I think it proves the market. It helps you allocate resources towards marketing and traction. Downside, implicit costs here that you might not actually be thinking about early on in these stages may not be really great for scalability, and really, I believe, needs to be used in context. If you have questions around what kinds of business models are going to be best for your company and how to achieve those long-term strategic goals, send me an email. I'm over at hello@scalingretail.com. Talk to you soon. Bye.